Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning.
Did you see the second best team in the NFC last night? You watched them last night? Oh, Matthew Stafford. Oh, Matty Ice.
Yeah, QBR of like 29.
It's better than Dax. It was better than
What
Dax.
I want to know is, where's your cigar today? Because LeBron entered the arena with a cigar, and he got beat down, so I thought you did it with a cigar and you'd get beat down.
No. The Lakers got beat down. LeBron won. You saw what he did.
Oh, is that how it goes?
Yeah.
So LeBron had a moral victory last night.
Ain't no more victory.
Unfortunately, Shannon, I don't think it works that way. No, not even for LeBron. We do have some football from last night we will get to, but first, yes, we have to start with the Lakers, who dropped to their third game in a row last night. LeBron finished with 33 points, and Westbrook had 22, but no other Lakers starter had more than 3 points. LA ultimately couldn't keep up with the Suns and would end up losing 108-90. Shannon, are the Lakers in danger of missing the playoffs here?
Yeah, and at best case scenario, they're in danger of being in the play-in. I don't know if that's a danger, but being in the play-in tournament, Skip, they're a mess right now. The only positive that I can take away from this team, Skip, is LeBron James, I don't care what anybody tells you, is playing better in year 19 than anybody thought he would. 8 of his last 12 games.
I will give you that.
In 8 of his last 12 games, he's gone over 30 points. He had 34 points last night. I don't know how much better he can play than what he played last night. He was 13 of 19 from the floor, 2 of 5, 6 of 6 from the free throw line, and he only had 2 turnovers. So I thought he played very, very well. But even if he plays that well, Skip, the days of LeBron being able to play well and others not play well around him and him still being able to carry a team, those days are over. And especially when you get THT going 1 for 13, 0 for 8 from the three-point line. You get Isaiah Thomas going 1 from 11. 0 for 6 from the three-point line.
Does Isaiah Thomas have any conscience at all?
No, Skip, I tweeted
like,
it.
Seriously.
You know what it is, Skip? He on a 10-day. He's like, I might not be here after Christmas, so I got to get these shots in, Skip, because I don't know when I'm going to get more shots in the NBA.
So on a 10-day, you got to take 10 shots a quarter, right?
Yeah, because that thing come to me, I ain't looking to pass it.
It's like, it just hits his hands and it's up, man.
It's up. And somehow, I don't know how, the Suns did a great job of rotating and always leaving THT wide open, and he was bricking it left and right. And that's the thing, Skip. In order for this thing to be successful, LeBron would have needed to play like he played last night for the entirety and not get hurt. Anthony Davis needed to play like New Orleans Pelicans Anthony Davis. And Russ just needed to take better care of the basketball. Again, last night, and I know you got something for that package of turnovers that he had last night. But how is it he turns the ball over the exact same way every time? Skip, he gets up in there and like, what am I supposed to? Damn, I forgot. Throws the ball, the guy's behind him. He beats the guy, and guess what? He throws the ball, the guy intercepts it. I was like, Russ, we doing this again. Skip, when you get Isaiah Thomas, just came in, not even a week ago, playing big minutes. Remember, Avery Bradley was in the starting lineup after he got released by Golden State, playing big minutes. Skip, it is what it is. And I've made peace with it. I've made peace that this team isn't very good. It's not going to become very good. And LeBron, it's going to be a long year from you, bro. I don't know what you paying your therapist, but you might need to add a couple more dollars because you're going to have to be on the couch an awful lot.
You think he does have a therapist?
I'm sure he has a sports psychologist, but he need about 3 or 4 of them now to deal with this mess.
Really?
Skip, this is a mess. I mean, you saw it last night up close and personal. And I was like, okay, they're playing pretty good. And then the third quarter rolled around. It's just, he can't, Skip, this reminds me of Cleveland. Not when Kyrie was there, but his last year. If he leaves the court, it's a wrap. And you saw as soon as he left the court in the second quarter, Phoenix going to run. He left in the third quarter, they going to run. He can't play 75 minutes a night. And that's what it takes for them in order to win. But right now, when you look at this team around him, they're not very good.
So I want all of our viewers to comprehend that Shannon Sharpe just made a very strong, powerful public statement that LeBron's Los Angeles Lakers are destined for the play-in tournament at best, you said, and could miss it all.
Yes.
They're now 16-16, could even miss the play-in tournament.
Yeah, the West is the league is better. The West is deeper.
And so I'm going to project, if you say they are in the play-in tournament, and let's say they do wind up with the 8 seed at best, that means probably they would have to face this team unless Golden State just goes crazy out. But right now, it's this team. Right now, it's the Phoenix Suns. Yeah. And the game I watched last night showed me that your team was completely overmatched against these Phoenix Suns because the final score was, 108-90, right?
Yep.
You scored a grand total with LeBron leading the way and having, by his standards in year 19, a big game.
Right.
You still scored 90 total points? Really? You lost 108-90. And if you look at your second half last night, if I have my math correct, you scored 38 points, right?
54-38.
Okay. But your team only scored 38 points in the second half. That would be 76 points for the whole game, right?
Guess what? LeBron scored 17 of those.
He did. Okay. Big picture. First, I'm going to give you 2 breaks before I unleash. You did not have Austin Reeves last night, and he's been like a godsend for you. He's undrafted out of the University of Oklahoma, and he has actually become your closer. He's been playing down the stretch every minute of the fourth quarter and overtime if required. And who hit the big shot at Dallas? He hit the shot to win the game, and he's in COVID protocol, obviously. Avery Bradley is your best perimeter defender. Could he have helped a little bit last night? Sure, he could have. He was in COVID protocol. Kendrick Nunn has not been there all year. I like Kendrick Nunn. I do. I think he will be, as your GM said, Pelinka last night, I think before the game, he said he's at one of our top 8. And I would agree with that. He will be a contributor within the rotation. Don't know if he'll be a starter. Maybe he will rise into starterhood at some point. But you didn't have Dwight last night. I still like Dwight a lot because he can wreak some havoc.
I'm trying to figure out why we didn't have Dwight. I thought he was out of protocol.
I don't know what happened.
Because guess what? When DJ go out, Skip, you got LeBron or Trevor Ariza or Carmelo trying to deal with DeAndre Ayton on the block.
Well, I guess it says DNP coach's decision, so maybe he just didn't want to play him last night. I don't know why.
I like DJ, but I think Dwight Howard probably.
Well, do you really like DJ?
I like him as a person, Skip. I don't really know him, but I think, the way he conducts himself, but I think Dwight Howard would give you more bang for your buck in this situation.
DeAndre Jordan last night played 16 minutes and was 0 for 1 from the floor. Did give you 8 rebounds, but it's just not enough.
But he's minus 26.
That's what I'm saying. But Dwight goes in and just wreaks havoc.
Yes.
He makes things happen for better and for worse. But I like him in the starting lineup over DJ.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to give you this on LeBron James. I loved his plan of attack last night because that's the first time all year where I saw him mostly put his head down and say, stop me. Get in the way of this freight train because I'm going to take some pounds of flesh here. I'm going to bang into you, and maybe they'll call me for an offensive foul, or maybe I'll just get to the basket and slam it on you, which happened repeatedly last night. Because if my math is correct, off the shot chart, LeBron was 7 of 9 in the paint. Well, 9 times in the paint is a great new departure for him. So he was 6 of 10 outside the paint, which for him is, I would consider that hot hand.
Very good,
for him. So 6 of 10 outside, 7 or 9 inside. That is a recipe for success for LeBron.
For LeBron.
Just for LeBron.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is. And I'm going to give you this. He made all 6 of his free throws. Shocks me when he does that. He has risen up to 75.8% from the line. That ranks 75th out of 102. 75th. But for LeBron, that's pretty great.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to give you some positives here to hang on to. And I will tell you this. In the big picture, it is still hard for me to fathom that a team with LeBron James, and once it gets all these players back from whatever injury or COVID protocol, it's hard for me to believe that it can't just make the playoffs. It may end up in the tournament to get into the tournament, but still, I don't think you can keep this team out of the playoffs. The problem's going to be you're going to draw Phoenix or Golden State in round 1. And then what are you going to do?
But Skip, think about what you just said. You said LeBron James did everything that you've always wanted him to do.
Yep.
He scored 34 points.
Yep.
He shot 13 of 19 from the floor.
Agreed.
He was perfect from the field, and they get beat by 18. So it goes to show you, if these other guys don't continue to do what they've been doing all year around him, it doesn't matter what he does.
And to drive home the shock value of this for me, He scored, 34?
Yes.
They only scored 90. So to your point, he did all he could do, and then he came back in the fourth quarter, and I'm saying, what are you doing? Because he started the fourth quarter, then he went out for a little while, then he came in at the 7:30 mark and played for a couple of more minutes, and they wind up down 20. And I'm saying, are you stat padding? But he didn't even make a shot. No. He didn't do anything. No. And I'm saying, Russ scored 4 more points in that same little time frame, and then he and Russ depart with 5.5 minutes left, and they're down 20. So I'm saying, what is happening here? And again, there's no Anthony Davis, but you keep telling me when he plays, there's no Anthony Davis, right?
The AD ain't got nothing to do with this one.
But when he does come back, with those two, here's my bottom line. I'll just leap right to my conclusion. Russell Westbrook is a disaster for your basketball team. You cannot overcome him. He is completely out of control in so many different ways that your only hope to have a semblance of a team that could actually contend, I'm telling you, you've got to get rid of him at some point. And I know it's virtually impossible to do that because nobody wants that. What's he up, 42 million?
Well, he's 41 point something this year, and then I think he has 47 next year.
47? Who wants that? Even for box office, for marquee value.
41. 44 this year, because it's 91 over 2 years.
All right. So it's silly money for this disaster of a player who's become like a caricature of himself as a triple-double artist.
But, Skip, if you look at it last night and people just look, man, he was 10 of 20. He only shot twice, but he led your team in rebounds. He had 5 assists. But keep going over to that box. Go over to that other box. They had 14 turnovers. He had half of them. Skip, it's like, when have you known a team, a guy that leads the league in turnovers, win a title? It's just like a team winning the World Series that leads the MLB in errors.
Yep.
Or a football team. How you going to win the championship, Skip, if you lead the league in turnovers? Because inevitably what happens?
Yep.
All turnovers are not created equal.
Nope.
And you make an error in the 9th inning of a close ball game, you lose. You turn the ball over in the fourth quarter of a tight ball game, you lose. I saw Patrick Mahomes on a Monday night throw for almost 500 yards, and you and I came in and talked about it.
Against the Rams.
But what did he do, Skip? He gave up 2 scooping scores, if I'm not mistaken, and threw a pick.
He did.
He couldn't overcome that. As great as his stats were, as great as Russ' stats are, if you turn the ball over like he turns it over, it is so demoralizing. Not only to the teams, even the fans like, damn, again, Russ.
Again and again and again. For the record, Russell Westbrook now leads the NBA in turnovers by 18. He's 148. James, who's obviously still in some kind of protocol or whatever's wrong with him, is at 130. 148 to second place 130, plus 18 turnovers on the second place turnover machine. This is all-time bad. And he had 7 more last night. And that means, once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our daily Russell Westbrook turnover blooper reel. Could we see it, please? In action. Russ, please, Russ, think about this. Russ, calm down. What? Okay, there's the first one. Russ, no, don't. Russ? Who are you throwing it to? Nobody? Russ. Think about it.
Watch this one.
What?
Leave it.
Leave your feet with no plan. Russ.
You know we got one
Russ,
of them.
You're not even looking. Russ, do you realize you're in a basketball game? Whoops. Russ, you're not outside somewhere.
What?
No.
And this leads to a 3.
Yep, it did. Russ, just think.
Look.
Well, and LeBron's saying LeBron thought he got fouled, but still, was it not covered? Is it not? It's a bad idea to start with, but we see just a parade of idiotic turnovers. And to your point and mine, it demoralizes the team because they get worse and worse by the game. And you just know guys are sitting over on the bench going, God, we can't win like this.
Skip, the thing is about mistake. If a guy makes a mistake, you're willing to accept that. Say, hey, it's a part of the game. But how you continuously make the exact same mistake, leave your feet, and with no place to throw the ball, nowhere to go with it. Skip, I'm just wondering. I was waiting on the game. I watched the game in its entirety, and I'm waiting for Russ to say, okay, when the game going to dictate what Russ does? Because he's already tell me, he said the game will dictate what you do. So I guess the game started to dictate, man, you know what, we close in this ball game. Let me start turning it over so they can pull away. I guess that's because I was waiting. And, I was waiting for the one that he stepped out of bounds. Guys step out of bounds all the time. You go, not one of those. Those are the mistakes that he makes. Skip,
Yep.
It's just hard to overcome because guys see it game in and game out.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen anything like it. But like I said, he seduced us with the triple-double.
He did.
And all we looked at is points, rebounds, and assists. And we never bothered to look at those turnovers. Skip, I looked at it like this, and I was sitting on my couch last night. I was thinking, LeBron, you're in year 19, and you're asking yourself, you believe you can do something that Kevin Durant couldn't do in his prime. Think about that. We see how great Kevin Durant is, and he's still in his prime. But Kevin Durant couldn't do it.
He said, I can't do this with him as my primary decision maker. So now to drive home this point, Russell Westbrook displayed the height of delusional audacity and arrogance early in that game last night. 5:50 left in the first quarter.
He does it every time.
He made a bank shot, which is his only shot that he can make as a jumper. He banked it in over Mikal Bridges, if we could see this. He banks it in on a little turnaround fall away. Nice shot, I'll give you that. And up court he goes doing, I just rocked the baby. You cannot rock the baby on Mikal Bridges. He's one of the better defenders in this league. He's long. He's taller than you are. He's probably 4 inches. He's 6'7". He's 4 inches taller than you are. He's much longer than you are. And you rocked the baby?
Yeah.
I said, that is out of bounds, and that is trouble because you, Russell Westbrook, are asking for it.
Then what happened later in the ball game?
Thank you. With 5:27 left in the second quarter, this is what happened. Take a bite of this, Russ. On Mikal Bridges, up and eat it. And to Mikal Bridges' credit, he doesn't gloat.
Right.
He doesn't taunt. He doesn't dance on him. He just went up to the other end and they made another basket.
He did that the first game against Devin Booker, rocked the baby, and then Devin Booker went berserk on him.
Yep. Rock the baby? What, can you at least pick your spots?
Can we at least win a game before you start rocking the baby? Rock the baby once there's like 10 seconds on the clock and we're up 10. Then you can rock the baby all you want to.
You know, I tweeted this last night. This guy is so delusional that he actually thinks he's Jordan. You know, like he's the equivalent of Michael Jordan, like, do you know who I am? I'm a first ballot Hall of Famer. And he is. Yes. Slam dunk.
Yes.
No question.
Yes.
Average triple doubles for the last 5 years. We've never seen anything like it. But what did I tell you?
Yeah.
When they signed him, he is a solo act of a stat machine. Mm-hmm. What did I tell you? I warned you 4 times in the past 8 years. He's led the league in turnovers, and 4 other times second in turnovers. So you can't overcome it.
No, you can't.
It's way more bad than good.
Right.
There's always some good. He had a stretch of 4 or 5 games when you thought, well, he's kind of blending in a little bit.
Yeah, he cut down on the turnover. He cut down on the bad shot because, Skip, we know, I mean, the likelihood of him shooting 50% from the floor again is not very good over the next couple of games, especially now they got the Nets on Christmas. You know he's going to try to show up KD, but that's another story. Skip, at the end of the day, it's just hard to overcome. If your quarterback turns the ball over, Skip, how do you overcome that? You covered this game.
Well, Jameis Winston, we'll go back 2 years ago. What happened?
That's the exact same team.
Same team. It's a 7-9 team with Jameis throwing, what was it? He had 30
he had 33 touchdowns, 30 picks.
Yeah, 30 picks and 5 lost fumbles,
Right.
35 giveaways.
Right. So how does the guy that has the ball the most in his hand, he's turning it over?
And they went 7-9, and then Brady comes in and he goes 40 touchdowns to 12 interceptions, and you know the rest of the story, right?
There it is.
It's about turnover ratio.
Yes.
It's why my Dallas Cowboys are suddenly 10-4. They're second in turnover ratio. Dak's still giving it away, but boy, do we take it away.
But you're taking it more than you're giving
Way
it.
more.
And you could overcome Dak not playing up to the Dak level that you
Absolutely.
expected if your defense is going to give you 4 or 5 turnovers a game. But when you're not playing as well offensively, you can't guard and you give the ball away on your possessions.
Yep, I agree.
You ain't overcoming that.
Okay, so here's my bottom line. If you could get everybody healthy and out of protocol, if somehow you could remove Russell Westbrook, which I find virtually impossible, but if you could, I promise you'd be a better basketball team. If you had AD back with LeBron and all the rest of these players, you could mix and match much better than you can with Russ.
Yeah, Russ is a Christmas tree in June. How the hell I get rid of it?
Well, how do you? I don't know, because you don't want to just cut him.
No, you're not cutting him. You can't cut him. You got to buy him out, and he's going to want all his money. He's not taking pennies on the dollar.
No,
So,
and it's virtually impossible to bench him, to DNP him, because he's good. You want to talk about making waves? Good luck with that.
Yeah.
So I fear you are stuck with him, but I promise you'd be a better basketball team without Russell Westbrook.
Well, maybe we need to send some scouts down there to take a look at John Wall. I mean, they got very comparable contract.
Would they do it just so Houston could have a gate attraction?
I don't think.
They've had him before.
Yeah, they use it like that.
We're good.
Actually, as a matter of fact, they swapped the John Wall and Russ for each other, Skip.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see a way out of it.
I don't see it either, Skip.
Bottom line, the guy who signed off on Russell Westbrook was your guy, LeBron James.
I don't know if that to be true. I don't know that to be true.
Yes,
now.
you do.
I'm not sure about that.
That was it. Fatal mistake by LeBron James. Congratulations.
No mercy.
Jalen Hurts managed nearly 300 yards through the air in the Eagles' 27-17 win over Washington last night. He also ran for 2 scores, breaking Michael Vick's single-season franchise record for rushing touchdowns by a quarterback, which led Skip to tweet this: Jalen Hurts is a baller. Jalen Hurts is a playmaker. Jalen Hurts is the future in Philly. Those are some impressive words from Skip. Shannon, do you agree?
No, and I don't think the Eagles agree also. When you can run the football like they ran it last night, 41 attempts for 238 yards, almost 6 yards of carries and 2 touchdowns, he's going to look good. But let me tell you what, I went back and I looked and I tried to find. When he was 14 of 31 for 129 and 3 touchdowns, there was no Skip Bayless tweet about Jalen Hurts as a baller, Jalen Hurts as a playmaker, Jalen Hurts as the future in Philly. When he was 18 of 34 and a loss to the Raiders in Week 7, there are no tweets which you tweeted what you tweeted. And a Week 6 loss at Tampa Bay, he was 12 of 26 for 115 and an interception. There was no tweet. He's a baller. He's a playmaker. He's the future in Philly. When he went 12 of 23 for 190 and a loss to the 49ers, there was none of that. It was only after he had one successful game. But let me tell you what Jalen Hurts is doing. He's completing 61% of his passes. That's only ahead of Sam Darnold, which you have no respect for, in 3 rookie quarterbacks.
Well, he's a bust because you said he was going to be the best quarterback in the draft.
And Jalen Hurts is slightly above him in 3 rookie quarterbacks. If you think a quarterback is going to run you to a Super Bowl, this isn't about, he can win some games. Teams are trying to get quarterbacks that can lead them to a Super Bowl. And that is the question. I do not, because I don't believe he's a good enough thrower of the football to lead them to where they want to be. And I believe Philly is probably the higher-ups are more in my corner than your corner. You get to tweet this, he played well. 20 of 26, had an unfortunate interception. I don't know if I've seen an interception. Hit the back of a guy here. Well, only Baker Mayfield can hit the back of a guy here. Ask Odell about that. Talk about Odell in a minute. But I do not believe that he's advanced enough at throwing the football. And unfortunately, in his situation, I'm not so sure that they're going to give him a time to grow into that position, because this is a win-now league. And I'm not so sure that they're going to give him, especially Skip, given the fact that they got these high draft picks. They're going to probably have a high draft pick, fairly high, and they might be looking to get a quarterback. So I don't see it. I don't.
And I have from the start. I told you, and I tweeted, and I posted the day he was picked. This is the future in Philadelphia. And I'll add 2 more accolades to baller, playmaker, and future. He's the leader of this team, and he is a winner. That's what he was at Alabama. That's what he was at Oklahoma. Teams follow Jalen Hurts. This team loves to play for Jalen Hurts, and I believe this team is starting to peak at just the right time. And I warned you before the year. You were bouncing all over the place in the East. I gave you the field versus the Cowboys. Right. And for a while in the offseason, it was all about the Giants. And then you jumped off that bandwagon and you jumped on Washington's. And for a while, it was all about Washington. And I hung right in there from the start. I said, no. It will ultimately be Philadelphia will be the biggest threat to my Dallas Cowboys. And they remain that. And I think they could be that. And I do fear them because of him. I also told you that stats will lie about Jalen Hurts, because what did I tell you from day number 1? He is Tebow-esque. You can say that's a shameful comparison.
Where did he get Tebow?
Okay. Well, it got him a division title.
Okay.
It got him from 1-4 all the way up to winning the division and winning a home playoff game against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And what did he get him?
Well,
out of Denver. Okay.
Okay. Well, That's because Peyton Manning came along, a top 5 all-time quarterback. And I told you, if Peyton knocked on the door and I had Tim Tebow, I'd say, Peyton, come on in.
Well, I believe that's going to same thing that's going to happen, Skip. I believe they're going to have a high draft pick, and they're going to be willing to move off of Jalen Hurts in order for this draft pick to play. Now, he might get another opportunity to play next year, but I believe if they're in prime position and they can get a top quarterback, I believe the Eagles are going to plunge.
Okay, so statistically, to all your points, 61%, he's 14 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. But now you start looking at the other little hidden stats. 10 rushing touchdowns. Mm-hmm. If we see the 2 quickly last night, these are 2 more that broke, as Jenny said, Michael Vick's Philadelphia record for rushing touchdowns. Here's the first one. It's just a quarterback sneak. He is so strong in the weight room. Size. He is it. Pound for pound in anybody's weight room, even the Eagles' weight room, he is the strongest. Mm-hmm. So you can always trust him to do any of these kinds of things because he is a powerhouse.
I like that tight end on the left.
You do?
That's Devontae Smith. Let him be tight end.
Okay. I hope he's all right. It looked like he tweaked his hamstring last night.
Oh, yeah, on the 7, right? Yeah.
He did. The point is, even though Jalen is only 21st in QBR, the hidden stats are that all of a sudden, Philadelphia is doing just what Tebow's team did in 2011 in Denver. All of a sudden, guess who's leading the league in rushing? The Philadelphia Eagles have moved past the Indianapolis Colts featuring Jonathan Taylor all the way up. It's 166 to 159 a game, 166 yards a game. It's because of the zone read, the read option. It's hard to defend now that they got Miles Sanders back in gear and he had his career high rushing last night. Yeah. It makes them difficult to defend because I'm not saying Jalen is a great thrower of the football, but he's a pretty good one. And could we see the last throw to Greg Ward Jr.? It's big time. And every once in a while, he pops up with one where you say, aha, that'll work.
That was a great throw. On the move.
On the move, which is where he's best.
Back shoulder.
Accurate, nice catch.
That was a great throw, Skip.
And this is the game clincher. Okay, so he is capable of doing that. So now you start to look at Pro Football Focus, your favorite website. He's graded the 12th best quarterback, but that was going into the game last night. So I don't know. I assume his grade's going to go up because I don't know. That's pretty good to go 20 and 26, 296.
I don't know how a guy has 14 touchdowns and 9 picks and be graded 12.
That's because they're grading everything. They're grading the running, too. So he's 12th. He was 1 rung behind Dak Prescott at 11. So is it possible he just vaulted past Dak Prescott into 11th? Well, if he did, which I'm going to guess that he did, that means he's on the edge of the top 10 in overall grades for the year. Interesting.
Nobody thinks Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback.
Well, how about in impact? How about in overall performance? How about in just value added all across the board in so many ways, including leadership? I don't know.
Did you see their record?
Yep.
So how impactful has he been if their record is what it is?
Okay, right now they moved up to 7-7, right? Yeah. They have the Giants at home. They have at Washington. Do you think they could get to 9-7?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I think they could get to 9-7. Okay, let's do the worst case scenario for my Dallas Cowboys. What if somehow they lose to their arch rival, Washington, this Sunday in Dallas?
Man, stop.
Is it possible? It's possible they would. Let's do the worst case. I'm doing worst case. Then here comes Arizona. You know what Arizona did to my Cowboys last year?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a possibility, but considering they lost to the 1-11-1 team.
Okay, Kyler, it's like all these Texas kids, when they come home to play Dallas, they just rise and shine. They love to... It's like little Aaron Jones with Green Bay. He runs wild on Dallas because he grew up a Cowboy fan in El Paso.
Well, first of all, Skip, you said you give me worst case scenario. You give me cataclysmic scenario.
Well, is it?
With Washington and Philly. Yes.
Maybe. Okay. But let's just do that worst case. Okay. That would mean the final game of the year comes down to Dallas at Philadelphia. And if Philly wins that game, both of them would finish at 10-7.
Okay.
Yeah. So Dallas needs to win a game.
So if they win this game Sunday, it's over. The division is over.
What do you always tell me about my Dallas Cowboys? They always do Cowboy things, right?
Yeah, but I expected them to do that a little earlier. But they was doing it right on cue. I mean, the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Raiders, they were doing things, and then Washington let them off the hook.
What have you told me about the last 3 games? Backup or below average quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
It's been your basic Taylor Heineke here.
Yeah.
Mike Glenn in there.
Yep.
And who was the other one? It's somebody
Jake
bad.
Fromm. Y'all dodged some bullets.
Right? Okay. So if they both finish 10-7, they would have the same division record, same conference record. It comes down to, I checked on this, it comes down to strength of victory, believe it or not. That's the final one. And we would have the edge there, but there's still a way, it's too complicated to try to get into on the air. There's still a way that Philly would be alive to win the division. Now, would 10-7 get both of them into the playoffs? It might. So I'm just saying, I fear Jalen Hurts way more than I ever feared Tyler Heineke.
I don't fear any of them.
Well,
you're sleeping really good over there. You feeling really good about yourself because you're sitting there 10-4.
And 10 equals 10 cases of Diet
Five,
Mountain Dew.
I brought out a couple
No, you
weeks
did not.
ago.
I said no. I will not let you off the hook for this. You have ridiculed me too often about my Dallas Cowboys doing cowboy things.
Yes.
So all I need is one more victory, and it's done. And I win 10, and you will accept 10. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm going to get it back come playoff time.
Oh, are you?
Yep.
Huh.
You got to bet.
News to me.
Ain't no why I'll bet you one case and all that. No, you got to bet.
Okay, I'll bet you right here, right now, Dallas wins one playoff game. Playoff game. You said they're one and done.
I got to see who they play. I got to see y'all mess around and get the Eagles. The Eagles mess around and get in the playoffs, and then you guys see the Eagles again. No. 49ers or the Rams.
I want Kirk Cousins. That's who I want.
Kirk Cousins, deal it. He'll do y'all in.
Don't do it to me because then I'm gonna. Oh, that would be not good. That would be not good, and I can't even believe in my team right now. Fine. We'll see how it plays out. We still got a couple more games, right, guys? Also in action last night, Matthew Stafford and the Rams were able to put up 17 unanswered points on the Seahawks last night to come away with a 20-10 win. LA is now 10-4 on the season and within striking distance of snagging one of the top seeds in the NFC. All of this came despite OBJ only getting one catch on 3 targets for 7 yards. So, Shannon, how much longer will Odell be happy with such a limited role?
He's fine. He's fine with it. And I know what people are trying to create a narrative about Odell's going to start throwing temper tantrums. Odell wasn't the problem. Odell isn't the problem. He understood what he was getting into. Cooper Kupp is having an outstanding season. He could possibly have the greatest statistical receiving season in NFL history. The guy has over 1,600 yards. He has over 120 catches. He has 14 touchdowns. He averages 12 targets a game. He has 20 more targets than any other player in the league. Odell was under no guise that he was going to come there and rival Cooper Kupp for targets. He had a big first down catch, and it was his PI that directly led to the Rams getting a touchdown. He did what they asked him to do. Yes, would you like to see a couple of those deep balls get connected on between him and Stafford? But it didn't happen. Odell is fine, and I'm not going to let Skip and others try to create a narrative that Odell is going to all of a sudden start saying, well, since I'm not getting the ball, I'm going to be a problem. Odell wasn't the problem in Cleveland. He's not going to be the problem with the Rams. Odell is doing his job. Big first down, big PI that led to a touchdown. Odell is fine. So stop trying to create tension and trouble where there's none.
Was Odell the problem in New York?
He was the problem? No. Hold on. You talked about all the numbers. Odell was a 3-time Pro Bowl player putting up all these big. Now he was a problem. Now he's not putting up numbers. He's not complaining. Now he's still a problem.
Well, he got like 10 targets a game in New York, and he had 10 tantrums a game when he didn't get 10 targets, right?
So he's not getting the targets.
Okay.
He's keeping his head down. He's working. So what's the problem now?
So once upon a time, not that long ago, when Odell suddenly became a free agent because Cleveland just flat out released him.
Yeah.
I made a statement right here on this show, sitting right here in this chair, that he was the most overhyped free agent in NFL history. And I stand by that statement because there are so many Odell idolaters out there, people who buy into his mystique on social media. And I give you that mystique. He is a powerhouse on social media. No longer on the field is he a powerhouse. That guy who made the greatest catch in NFL history once upon a time long ago against my Dallas Cowboys and Brandon Yu's car on a Sunday night game at New York, a game that Dallas won, actually, that launched him into a career of the equivalent of an NFL Harlem Globetrotter, where the show he puts on before the game is even better than the show he could put on the field during the game. So that his visibility, his overall mystique rose to a point that he couldn't live up to it on the field.
He did, though, but he went to 3 straight Pro Bowls in New York.
Okay, and they went to 1 playoff game.
Yeah.
In the first series of that playoff game, on 3rd down, he dropped a ball right in his hands, and then a little later in the first quarter, he dropped a touchdown pass that hit him in the hands in the back of the end zone. That after he led his receivers on the off day on Monday to prepare for that game on the frozen tundra to South Beach to be on a yacht with Trey Songz.
Skip, what he did then is well documented.
Okay.
But how does that have an impact on what he's doing now?
Because history, as you well know, will almost always repeat. You to know what's going to happen, you have to look at what has happened. And his history would be that all of a sudden he's going to be reading all of his responses and they're going to get under his skin and into his psyche, and he's going to start saying, God, why aren't they throwing me the ball more? 3 targets on a nationally televised game?
Guess what? Remember, he had another first down that got called back by illegal formation.
Okay.
So he would have had 2 first down catches and a big PI that led to a touchdown.
Okay.
Look, he's not going to get the targets. Cooper Kupp is number 1. Cooper Kupp is number 2. And then Jefferson, Higbee, and then Odell. Odell understands that. Odell wanted an opportunity to go somewhere. The places he had the opportunity to go. He had an opportunity to go to the Chiefs, had an opportunity to go to Green Bay, had an opportunity to go to the Rams. And he felt the Rams was best for him. At the end of the day, you got to do when you're a free agent, Skip, yes, he has a girlfriend. They're expecting a new baby. I think she's out. Well, she was going to go wherever he goes. But he felt most comfortable being in L.A. Got no problem with that. I mean, is it a bad situation? I mean, you're going to play with Aaron Rodgers. You're going to play with Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford in a dome.
Okay. A lot of people still believe he's the best receiver in pro football.
Nobody believes
caught
that.
Up. They're blinded by
nobody
the light.
believes that. Nobody believes. It's going to be hard pressed to say that he's a top 10. Given the last 3 years, I don't believe you'll find one GM. I don't believe you'll find one player that says Odell currently is a top 10 player. Now, he can get out of this season, have another offseason, which he doesn't have injury. He doesn't have to rehab from anything. I think Odell can find. I don't know if he'll ever be what he was at the height in New York. I don't know if he can get back to that. But I do believe that if he can stay healthy for the remaining of this season, it will do wonders for him, because being injured messes with your mind. You heard Tom say it the other night, Skip, after when the diagnosis about Chris Godwin. He says, you're never the same. It messes with you.
That's after an ACL. And he has had an ACL.
He has ACL.
Yep.
So it takes some time for you to get back and like, okay, I'm fine. And so if he can get past that, but I love the way he's handled it. It's tough to see one guy get 14, 15 targets a game, and I'm only getting 4 and 5. So I start to press, but I haven't seen Odell do that yet. So I commend him for not pressing, and he's not going to be an issue. I can assure you that I don't say I guarantee it, but I feel very comfortable in saying that he's not going to be the problem. He's not going to complain about his targets. He's just going to go out there, do his job, and when called upon, he's going to make the play.
I will believe that when I see it or don't
You're seeing it right now.
Don't hear it.
Are you seeing it right now?
I'm not seeing much from Odell Beckham Jr., and he's only 29 years of age,
Yes.
but I did first guess this. I did say that over his last 4 years, he's had 4 big injuries, 3 of which required surgery.
Yes.
And the worst of the surgeries was the ACL. It's hard for a receiver who relies on speed and quickness to come completely off an ACL and ever be quite the same, quite as explosive as he was back in his New York days.
Oh, he can do it. Because I watched Jerry Rice do it. I watched Jerry Rice come back from an ACL tear at the first game against Tampa and come back and catch 2 touchdowns
Most
against
people
us.
believe Jerry Rice is the greatest ever.
Who doesn't believe it? I don't know what they believe in.
Okay, well, I believe Michael Irvin is, but that's just me. But that's on team leadership and big playmaking. But the point is, Jerry Rice was a freak of nature in 1,000 different ways.
Yes, he was.
That being number 1. Okay, so what have I seen or not seen from Odell Beckham Jr. since he joined the Rams? That's 5 games worth. He's had 28 targets. He's caught 16 balls for 211 yards and 3 touchdowns. Okay, in targets in the league over the last 5 games that he has played, he's tied for 67th.
Okay.
Wow. in catches, he's tied for 69th.
Right.
In yards receiving over the last 5 games, he's tied for 59th.
Right.
Well, that's a lot of 67th and 79th and 59th.
Well, Skip, I mean, you can only do it with the targets. I mean, if they're not throwing you the ball, I mean, how am I going to get yards? How am I going to get touchdowns if they're not throwing the ball?
I saw a touchdown that he caught, a nice one against the Packers, but they were down 36-17 at the time.
Right.
Then I saw a 1-yard touchdown against Jacksonville. That put them up 37-7 in the fourth quarter. And then I saw a pretty good touchdown against Arizona that did put them ahead 7-3. So I'll give you that of the 3 touchdowns. The other 2 are just garbage touchdowns.
I know a guy that made a living off garbage touchdowns. You know him. He has to be quarterback for your team. And you didn't have a problem with that. Remember, but you say he was a warrior. You love the way he fought. Now, Odell is out there. Hey, all I can do is look. They throw a pass. We're up 30 points. They throwing passes. Okay, get in the game, Odell. I'm catching it.
Okay, so he's led teams to how many playoff victories? None. 0.
I mean, but I thought the quarterback play. I thought the receiver's a dependent position.
Okay.
So he's relying on his quarterback.
So maybe in the end, as we look back on his days in Cleveland, maybe it wasn't all Baker's fault.
No.
Interesting.
No, Skip. Skip, I've never said the marriage between Odell and Baker, I didn't say it was anybody's fault. I said, I'm not blaming Baker. I'm not blaming Odell. All I'm saying is for whatever reasons, it didn't work. I see people get, hey, we're still friends. We're going our separate ways, but we've decided to move into the future separate, but forever friends.
Okay.
I don't know if Baker and Odell are friends. All I know, Skip, it didn't work.
I think they used to be friends.
Okay.
I'm not so much now.
Okay, good. Fine. It's okay.
Especially after Father did what Father did.
And after Skip did what he did, you keep showing the drops. So the dad said, well, let me show you something.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then.
So he's responding to me?
Yeah, I don't know who he responded to,
well, then maybe
but everybody saw it.
Maybe I shouldn't be friends with the dad anymore, right?
But everybody
I thought we were friends.
No. Everybody saw what you were doing, and everybody saw the tape that he compiled together of all them horrible throws.
Really? And yet you couldn't really see off the tape where Baker was going with the ball in the first place. Because if I did that with a lot of Shannon Sharpe routes, you'd be saying, why didn't he throw it to Shannon? He was wide open on that play. Well, he threw it over there.
Well, Skip.
Okay?
No. I'm not talking about, look, this ain't about Shannon. I was fine. I understood my role. First of all, we were a running team. It wasn't like we could... You might get, there were a couple of times I got 12 targets in a game.
Okay.
And I cashed them in. But Skip, this is not, I didn't leave one team and join a team that had a guy that was having a historic season in the middle of that team. It's like, well, y'all got, who y'all got over here, right?
So I believe that for billions of Odell idolaters out there who don't know that much about football, it could be said, I think they look at this and say, wait a second. Last night, Cooper Kupp had 13 balls thrown to him. 13?
Yeah.
And Odell had 3?
Yes.
13-3?
Van Jefferson had 2.
Yep.
Sonny Michel had 2.
Yep.
Henderson had 2.
Okay, but let's just keep it to Cooper Kupp. And so all those idolaters are saying, wait, this little white guy for the Rams is supposed to be way, way better than Odell Beckham Jr.?
He's having a historic season. Can we not deny that? Give the man credit. Skip.
Okay.
He might win Offensive Player of the Year.
Okay, so will Shannon Sharpe, the Hall of Fame receiver, tight end receiver, will he say that Cooper Kupp is now much better than Odell Beckham Jr.?
Skip, what's the debate in that?
I don't know. Is that what you're saying? I know that's what the stats say.
No, but
is that what your eyes tell you?
Yes, he's better. But
because when we did the debate a couple of weeks back about Cooper Kupp versus Devontae, who's graded the
I'm taking Devontae.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm taking Devontae.
Right.
I think Cooper Kupp is having a better season. I don't think he's a better receiver. Those are two different things. Okay. And I tweeted that.
Is Cooper Kupp a better receiver than Odell is at this stage and age?
Yes.
He is.
Yes. But Skip, that's not a debate. I don't think you're going to get any debate from anybody.
Well, I think a billion people would debate you. All those people who idolize Odell.
Skip, the man has 1,625 yards. He's on pace to go 150 and maybe 2K. Yeah. A receiver with 2,000 receivers. Skip, okay, we saw Megatron get close to 2,000. We saw Julio go over 1,900. But we're talking about freaks of nature. We're talking about one guy 6'3", 230, run 4.3. We're talking about another guy 6'4", 245, running 4.3. So we're talking about freaks of nature. We look at Cooper Kupp and we're like, how you do that?
So
but he's phenomenal.
If we did a one-on-one combine workout this afternoon between Odell and Cooper Kupp, who would win that workout?
Cooper Kupp is a better athlete than you think. And I think the thing is, Skip, because he plays the position that's normally dominated by people that look like me.
That is correct.
We underestimate just how talented he is.
Right.
He's faster than you.
Do you think he's being underestimated because of the pigment of his skin?
Of course.
Because do you think that Seattle went in the game thinking we have to take him out of the game? I believe that.
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, is that it's just so hard to double him when he's in the slot. If you notice, like when they put Devontae out wide, I can double him. I can stack the formation. It's kind of hard to stack two guys right behind each other, Skip, somebody in the slot, because that means somebody's going to be wide open. You're going to leave somebody wide open. But Cooper Kupp is better. It's kind of, Skip, I played with Ed McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey's father. And I saw guys week in and week out underestimate him. Oh, I'm going to D this white dude up.
Okay,
and the next thing you know,
he's 6'.
Eddie Mack was like 6'4.5", 6'5".
I was going to say 6'5".
Yeah, 6'5". He probably weighed about 215.
Okay, so he's sort of Chris Collinsworth-like because he's tall and lanky and fast.
And they talk about Forrest Gump and all that stuff. And the next thing you know, you look up, Eddie got 6 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown. And they're like, and one of them for 40. And they're looking around like, I was like, keep on.
So Cooper Kupp is about 6'2", but he's not 6'5".
No, he's like 6'3", Skip.
I don't think he's 6'3". I thought he's listed at 6'2".
Skip, he's bigger than you think.
Okay, but he's 210-ish.
You know what it is, Skip? Is that when you look at him, most slot receivers are like A.B. or like Julian Edelman or like Wes Welker, Cole Beasley. We're not used to seeing a guy his size play the slot. And having the season, Skip, those receivers like that, seasons are like that, they're reserved for Jerry Rice or Cal Megatron, Randy Moss. Skip, the dude is on pace for 2,000. And I don't care if it's an extra game. I don't care.
Do you believe 2 defenders were assigned to him on every play last night?
No.
On Cooper Kupp?
No, I don't.
I do.
I don't believe that was, Skip.
I just do. No. I mean, you just have to.
No, because Skip, on his first touchdown, Skip, he called it was a zone. So they see all he did was...
okay, well, I'll give you a zone. But I'm saying when it's man, are there 2 men assigned to him?
It's hard because you don't want to play man or play double him. I would. I mean, you see what how the Ravens approached Devontae. It's like, you know what? We don't care. Okay, Scanlon, we're going to see what you can do. And that's what I would be willing to do. I'm going to see if Van Jefferson, I'm going to see if Odell, if Higbee, if they can beat me. The dude got 16-25 with 3 games to go, Skip.
Okay.
The dude, think about it, Skip. He has 9 games in which he has at least 100 yards.
Okay.
4 games with 90 yards. Only 1 game this season has he not had at least 70 yards receiving.
Okay. So, Cooper Kupp, obviously the number 1 target for Matt Stafford. He just loves him and trusts him and believes in him and is connected to him almost on a friendship, like a brotherhood level.
Yes.
Okay, he's the first option. I believe Van Jefferson has become the second option for the Rams. Tyler Higbee did not play last night.
He's the third option.
He's the third option.
He might be 2 in front of Jefferson.
He could be. You could be right, which leaves Odell just because there's no Robert Woods.
Right.
If there were Robert Woods, Odell would drop to the 5th option, but he is now the 4th option on this team.
Yes.
So it has come to this for Odell Beckham Jr. Shannon Sharpe does agree. He's the 4th option on the Rams.
I think everybody that's watches the game would agree with what you just said.
So does that mean he gets single covered almost every time? It's probably every time he gets single covered.
I think the thing is more teams are playing them zone, Skip, because Matthew Stafford is dealing. Don't look now. He's 1 touchdown pass behind Tom Brady. And we think Tom Brady's having an unbelievable season.
Okay, so to sum this up, let's see the 3 targets that Odell did get. And I give you the penalties, but the 3 targets, if we could just see how it looked last night, because it was not that memorable to me.
That's the first down. Kept a drive alive. We got 3 points out of that.
7 yards. That went 7 yards. And then here's the second one, a little rollout. And I thought he was going to catch this, but he didn't. And here's the third one, the bomb. And I don't know where the throw was, so I'll not put that on Odell.
Right. I think the thing is, Skip, is that it's hard to see because, like, they run a lot of their routes from tight formation. So he's not in conventional wide, like 3 yards, 4 yards outside the numbers. So when he's running it, they need to get on the same pace as Odell. I might start you in a tight split, but I'm going to need you to end up 42-4, which is what we normally throw the deep ball at, 42 yards deep, 4 yards from the sideline.
Okay, so Jake Trotter at ESPN reported after Odell was gone that one issue that he had with Baker or for Baker was that Odell often just decided to run whatever route he thought worked the best given where the defense was.
Right, no, well, you can't do that.
Okay, well, I think that's what happened on that last play that we saw. Because it looked like Matt Stafford thought it was a completely different route.
If you remember, Skip, what problem did Ochocinco have? In Cincinnati, he just like, okay, the guy's over here, I'm gonna run over here. But when he got to New England, he was out of water. They're like, no, you can't.
Totally agree.
And so all of a sudden, I was like, ain't no way a guy that was this productive all of a sudden goes somewhere else and can't be productive. It was because, Skip, he got a chance to freelance, ad lib. Well, and you go to a structured Sean McVay system, if it's 8 roll to 10, it's 8 roll to 10. It ain't no you run a slant route because the guy's playing hard outside.
Yep. I agree.
But Odell is fine. So I need you to stop trying to make it seem like Odell is a problem when he ain't the problem.
I'm waiting for the bombshell.
I know you are, but it ain't going to happen.
It will drop.
It ain't going to happen.
Odell
it ain't going to happen.
He can't cope with this. You know it, and I know it.
Unless
he's totally committed to just promoting himself off the field, where he doesn't really care what happens.
But that's why Odell got friends like me. That's where I come in at.
Really?
Yep, sure do.
Oh. Well, how objective are you?
Ain't no objective.
Yeah.
I just look. My thing is, Skip. First of all, people know I talk to Odell, but I talk to a lot of other guys in the NFL too.
Okay. Well, you should call him after the show and say, Skip predicted that you're going to just throw the biggest tantrum ever in about 2 more games.
He probably watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I saved him from a tantrum.
You know, you did not. You ain't saved nobody from. Why you keep making you save somebody? You ain't save anybody.
I'm trying to head it off.
You
with
are
the
anchor.
pass.
You are anchor. You do realize that you the lifeguard with an anchor. Somebody drowning, you put the anchor around their waist. I'm trying to save you. I'm doing the best I can.
I'm trying, Odell.
No, you're not.
No mercy.
LeBron showed up at Staples Center with a cigar last night before falling to the Suns, and Kenny and Shaq on the pregame show certainly had opinions on the arrival. Take a listen for yourself.
That's a cigar, bro.
Is that a cigar?
That guy's walking into the arena with a cigar. Yo, that's disrespectful. Yo, we lose that game and the dude came in the cigar. I ain't a fighter, but I fight everybody in the locker room.
All right. I like the outfit, though. Shannon, do you agree with Kenny and Shaq?
I mean, was it disrespectful that Michael Jordan went to the opposing team's locker room and said, I'm gonna give it to you tonight? Was that disrespectful? And Michael Jordan lost the game. They lost to the old highlight, the Omni, which was called the Highlight Factory. I know, I'm from Georgia, live in Atlanta. Look, it's not a good look, and I get it. Appearance is everything, and I'm kind of old school in my thought process also, Skip, but I'm also modern enough to know that guys do things different than when Shaq and Kenny and some of those older guys. Things, the TikTok and all that stuff that they have going on now, it's hard for me to say that I wouldn't be a part of it, but I'm thinking that, knowing how focused I am, I don't want the distractions. I don't want people to say, well, this is why you're not playing well, is because you're too focused on TikTok and all these other things. But for me, it's not a good look for LeBron. I mean, I wouldn't have done it. I can't say, but to say this is why they lost because he walked in with a cigar. I mean, the dude did drop 34 on 13 of 19 shooting. He was 66 from the free throw line. He did everything he possibly could. Well, maybe some of the other guys should have walked in with a cigar if they go help them play better. I just look, LeBron, he knows. This is what I know this much about you, is that he knows everything he does is going to get raked over with a fine-tooth comb.
Absolutely.
And so when he does anything, he's willing to accept the good, the bad, or the indifferent that comes with any of his actions. You have to have armadillo skin to be at the height in which he is, be it Tom Brady, be it LeBron James, Tiger, Jordan. Skip, you got to have thick skin to deal with the criticism because everybody. Now, Jordan came up in an era, Skip, where there was no social media. It would have been very interesting with his behavior, some of the things that he did had we had a social media. But the athletes of today's time that's coming up in social media, they know everything they do is going to get scrutinized, be it good or bad. And so I think LeBron is willing to accept that. He knew that people was like, bruh, you better win this game. If you don't win this game, it gives people something to talk about. But for me, Skip, I wouldn't have done it because I don't think it portrays a good look.
Okay. To your last point, nothing LeBron does is not premeditated. It's all premeditated. He knew exactly what impact this would have.
Right.
And I believe he wanted to project this image of walking in.
Everything's okay.
Yeah.
We're good.
Like I'm already smoking my victory cigar. That's how it came across to me. And I want to compliment and appreciate that Kenny Smith called him out because sometimes it's hard because he drives that train on that network. He is still the face of this league. When he turned his ankle a little bit last night, I immediately tweeted, this league desperately needs him, especially with this COVID wreaking havoc again.
Right.
So he is a huge draw building up toward Christmas Day. So for Kenny Smith to have the guts to go out there all the way to, that guy is walking into the arena with a cigar, said Kenny Smith. We lose that game. You come in with the cigar, and he said, I'm not a fighter, but I fight everybody in the locker room, said Kenny Smith, old school Kenny, and he knows what it feels like to win championships because he won them with a team. The point is, Shaq did not disagree because Shaq would feel the same way because all those guys would feel the same way.
They old school.
Yeah, you smoke victory cigars, but the deed is done.
Right.
And I got no problem with that.
Well, Skip, whether I don't know if he was playing, but remember a couple of years ago he walked into the arena with wine.
He did,
and I think Kenny. I think it was the TNT crew, if I'm not mistaken, Skip. I know, but I was happy to be watching. I wouldn't listen to the sound, but I'm sure they had something to say about that.
Now, I'm going to be as objective as you just were to say it was a bad look for LeBron, or at least not a good look for LeBron. I was there with Michael Jordan, 1998, during that Last Dance season in Chicago. I was the columnist for the Chicago Tribune. It became clear to me that every home game, Michael would ride in with Ahmad Rashad because it was a distant suburb and it's a tough drive. It's a good hour into downtown. Right? It's up in there. Which I'm not sure exactly which one he lived in.
Okay.
But the point was that on a good day, it's an hour. So on the way in, according to Ahmad, Michael would smoke a cigar to calm him down.
Right.
So it wasn't a victory cigar. It's just what he did to get himself ready for the game.
Skip, the man had a cigar in the locker room. You remember he had the cigar, smoking the cigar in the locker room?
He did.
And with it holding his bat, doing his bat like that?
He did.
And ain't nobody said a thing.
Nobody said a thing. I said a thing in 1998. I said it on radio. I wrote about it. I didn't love it because it's just a bad look for the guy that I put on the highest pedestal. It just bothered me, and you can call me a stick in the mud if you so choose, but it just shook me up. I don't mind victory cigars, but when it becomes a daily habit, and you're the greatest player, that I'm calling you the greatest player ever in any sport, I just don't like the image that projects because don't get me started on the carcinogenic dangers of cigars because it's like 8 cigarettes equal 1 cigar, right? Okay, that's first of all. But second of all, great athletes plus smoking, it just doesn't really go together. I'm talking about smoking cigarettes or cigars.
Well, Skip, you know when you first started covering, everybody smoked. They smoked at halftime. I mean, when I first got into the league, guys was smoking at halftime. Step out of the locker room and smoke. Man, I was walking through. Sorry, Greg Townsend. We playing the Raiders. Skip. We walking, and I'm walking the tunnel. The dude sitting on his helmet at halftime.
I got it.
I'm like. Because I had never seen a professional athlete actually smoke, Skip. You know, I knew guys in high school, but they weren't no professional guys in high school.
Hey, it killed me when I walked into a golf locker room and I saw Jack Nicklaus and Tom Watson smoking cigarettes. It just shocked me.
Well, Skip,
knocked me over.
Skip, you remember they got a picture of Lynn Dawson smoking on the sideline, sitting on his helmet.
Okay, I got it. But it's just something about it that just shook me. Because in my mind's eye, I couldn't see it.
Right.
Because I couldn't. It took me a long time to get it in my head. Now, when I see Michael, I expect him to have a cigar because he lives with one. When he plays golf, it is 18 holes, 36 holes worth of cigars. He's just going to do it because it calms his nerves. Okay? I got that.
Well, LeBron, maybe that's what LeBron had it for. Maybe it calmed his nerves.
I don't know. Is he trying to be Jordan-esque? Maybe.
My thing is, Skip, I'm not nearly as upset as probably Kenny was about it but for me, I'm just, I just don't. I'm about the game, and I don't want, comment about my game. I don't want you to comment in a minute, but I get it. People are going to say, well, what does that have to do? Clearly, it didn't have an effect on his game because he went out there and dropped 34 on 13 or 19 shooting. Maybe some of the other guys, had pulled their weight.
I've never seen a study done, and you can appreciate this, but on the effects of smoking on your lungs, on your ability to have like aerobic capacity? Does it hurt your wind over time?
They say it does, but I don't know. I had a teammate that smoked every day, before practice, every day at lunch break, and he be first in wind sprints. Okay. And I ain't know how he did it. And he had a shot of Jack to go along with that. And I still didn't know how. I was like, how the hell you beat me running and eating grilled chicken and broccoli, and and you in front of me?
Well, God bless him. I hope he's okay now.
He is.
Okay.
He
All
is.
right. Okay. So you never know. It's like God only knows, right?
Some people have, Skip, I've seen guys, I had some teammates, Skip, they had to like go out on Friday night. Come in, bro, get in the shower, man. You smell like a liquor steal.
Mm-hmm.
But ball out come Sunday. I don't know how they did it. Some people are just wired like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how. I'm not wired like that. I need to be focused. All I'm thinking about, Skip, I'm in my game plan. Okay, if they do this, I got to make sure I do that. Make sure, John knows that I got I'm hot. He knows I'm ready. I know he's ready. I'm telling other guys. That's how I was. But some guys, Skip, I don't know how they can do all that stuff. They can do 100 different things. And come game time, they focus.
I'll never forget my days with those dynastic Cowboy teams of the 90s.
Yes.
Training camp days. St. Edwards in Austin, Texas, or out in Thousand Oaks at Cal Lutheran. And Troy Aikman would get so upset because they would give him Wednesday night off. And if we're out here in Southern California, a lot of those players would go into L.A. to have fun and just stay up. And I don't think there's a curfew. They let them off that Wednesday night. And they would drag into practice on Thursday, and Troy would not be happy. And I didn't blame him. But the point was, it just didn't matter.
And that's
because
the thing.
They were ready to go.
We got Wednesdays off a lot of times also. It might just say be careful. But Alex Gale, rest his soul, the offensive line coach, used to always say, if you see me out, you don't effing know me. Okay, bro.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So, in the end, the bottom line to this is, I don't know if word of LeBron walking in with the cigar got to the Phoenix locker room.
Well, I'm Skip, they were probably watching. Because a lot of times, Skip, in the locker room, they have these pregame shows on.
Have it on.
Because I know Sundays when we walk in the locker room, we was watching pregame shows.
Okay, and I'm not saying it would be the end of the world for the Phoenix Suns because they know what LeBron is and they know how he is. But still, would somebody sit back and say, okay, we got a little something for that?
Athletes, we take anything the opposing team does as a slight. If it's not, you better walk in, you better have your headphones on, you better not be keying. Everything you do, we view it as a slight. Oh, you're disrespecting us. Oh, you think you can get off the bus and laugh? What's funny? Okay, we got something for you. I'm just telling you how we're wired. Everything you do is a slight towards us.
I got it.
Oh, you feel you can just bend down and tie your shoe now, huh?
Yep.
You could have tied your shoe. So you that cool. You gonna bend down and tie your shoe. You could have tied your shoe on the bus. But you wanted us to say, okay, we got something for you, bro.
Bingo. Agreed.
Bulletin board material.
That's just the way we're wired.
Phoenix had an 18-point win for them.
No mercy.
CeeDee Lamb dropped 9 passes last season, 4th most in the NFL. And this season, he's had 6, but the Dallas Morning News points out that the star receiver needs to be better for the Cowboys to succeed. CeeDee had 3 drop passes in last weekend's win against the Giants that saw the offense score only 21, despite the defense forcing 4 turnovers. So, Shannon, right now, is CeeDee overrated in your eyes?
Well, based on what Skip Bayless says that he is, I believe that he is overrated.
What do I say? You
said that you believe that he's elite as we currently speak, and I don't believe he's quite there yet. I think the biggest thing is, Skip, with him is that because he's a punt returner, he's so good yards after catch. And a lot of these guys, Skip, they're focusing already, a lot of times you see his head is already here. So he's looking to find the defender so he can make him miss. And I tell guys, all the young guys this all the time, and it's hard for them to understand. I say, you catch with your eyes, not with your hands.
Yep.
I said, you have to, and I see guys all the time, they try to catch a ball like here, Skip, but they don't tilt the head back just enough so their eyes can track it.
Agreed.
And so when I watch CeeDee, and obviously because we talk about the Cowboys, I'm watching all the time. I see he's not tracking the ball because he's doing this already. He's looking to run after the catch. And what's hurting them is that a lot of these are on 3rd down. This will give you an opportunity to stay on the field and give your offense another 3 cracks at getting the ball down the field closer, maybe getting in field goal range, maybe even getting a touchdown. But, Skip, I think the thing is he's going to have to understand the play. You're going to get opportunities. He doesn't have to do that. I can see if he was a guy, Skip, only getting 3 or 4 targets a game, he's going to get his targets. I still believe Amari is a better complete receiver than CeeDee Lamb. I think CeeDee has more upside at this stage because Amari seems to always starting to get nicked now, and he doesn't play like a number one on the road. I've never seen anything like Amari on the road, Skip. But CeeDee, 2 catches.
Disappearing.
Yeah, he disappeared.
Yeah.
Skip, CeeDee had 2 catches on 9 targets for 23 yards against Denver. He had 2 catches for 5 yards. Had 2 catches on 5 targets for 13 yards against Carolina. And we know, I think he had 3 catches for 14 yards against the Chiefs. He needs to get some consistency. That consistency that we see from Justin Jefferson, who went 1,400 in his rookie season, made the Pro Bowl, made the Pro Bowl again. He's at 1,335, which is, if I'm not mistaken, second in the NFL. So CeeDee is 17th with 940.
Yep.
So he has a ways to go, Skip, but the drops are really hurting this Cowboy team because a lot of those are on 3rd down.
Okay. Day after the draft, I came in here and I told you, I jumped out of my seat. I basically jumped up in the middle of the table and told you, thank you, Jerry Jones, for taking CeeDee when he fell completely into your lap.
Right.
Because he will change life for the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
And I stand by that statement.
Okay.
It has not reached fruition yet.
Right.
And I will be the first to admit, I do not love the wavelength between my quarterback and number 88. I don't love it because when I watch Matt Stafford with Cooper Kupp, it's just like, but it's ridiculous because they just feel each other, that they're simpatico. Their minds are connected.
Right.
Where I'm going here and you know I'm going here. And it's a joy to watch it. It was a beauty that last touchdown pass to Cooper Kupp last night. I'm saying, how did you do that? Well, because they are connected, almost spiritually connected.
Right.
And it manifests itself in impossible throws and catches. You just get it.
Right.
You are connected psychologically with that quarterback.
Right.
And I'm not seeing that yet. I thought I might this year because remember Dak standing on the sidelines, Hard Knocks during camp when he couldn't play?
Yep.
And he watched.
He runs up on it,
yeah,
the deep
he
ball.
Said, his quote was, it's like he walks under go routes. Well, it is because it's just effortless speed that you get from number 88.
Right.
Okay, so I told you this year that CeeDee Lamb would rise to the number 1 receiver. And if you want to give Amari 1A, I'll give you. But I thought it would be more like number 2.
Right.
What do the stats scream at you right here so far this year? They're 10-4. And, gosh, in yards per game, CeeDee is just massively ahead of Amari. It's 72.3 to 56.9. Overall, he leads the team in catches by far. He leads the team in yards by far. And he leads the team in targets by far. And guess who's second in targets? Not Amari.
Schultz,
your
probably.
man Dalton Schultz, okay, who's become like the security blanket.
I told you, Skip. I always thought he was better. I thought he was better than Jarwin, but it's close. They're very similar, and they love having him on the field. But I think the thing, Skip, your guy, one guy got vaccinated and was able to be on the field for 2 games, and the other guy didn't, and he missed those games. And Amari been dealing with that hamstring. And, you know, CeeDee missed 1 game because of the concussion. But I just think the thing is, Skip, with him, he needs to focus on catching the football and not so much run after the catch.
But Dalton Schultz has become such a security blanket that for Dak, when in doubt, he throws it to 86, not 88. Okay, now to your premise. Look, I told you the day after the draft, CeeDee Lamb, I watched every down he played at the University of Oklahoma. He led college football in yards after catch.
Yes.
That's who he is and what he does. And I'll never forget that Texas game his last year at Oklahoma. They could not get him on the ground. And listen, it's a blood rivalry, and blood is flying. They're going after you with every fiber of their being, and they couldn't tackle him. They couldn't get him down. So if we could see what happened, let's just do the Giants game, and let's see the drops in the Giants game. And I'm with you. There's something going on here where you're just looking to terrorize. That's a sun ball to me. I think it just got lost in the sun on a little wide receiver screen. This was not a sun ball. This is just looking.
You got to get both hands. You know, why you stick out one hand?
I don't know. It's like he didn't even see the ball, and that's just. I think I'm going to take a shot here, and I got to get ready, and I don't.
But you're going to take the shot anyway. That's what I tell guys. The guy's going to hit you regardless. So you might as well catch it, because if you drop it, he's going to talk about you scared. Yeah, you better drop it. I ain't got time to hear your mouth the whole game.
Nope. Did he catch the walk-off at New England?
Yes.
He did. And he caught it just like effortlessly.
Yes.
You could just see it in his eyes like, I got this one.
Right.
You know, like, but I'm going to look it in because I know I'm gone.
Right.
I am gone.
Right.
And he threw me a nice ball, and I'm going to catch that. So those don't bother me a bit. The drops aren't as bad as last year, his first year, but these have to get eliminated, and they get eliminated by just concentration.
Correct.
You just have to go into a game saying, I'm just not going to drop these balls because I know I'm capable of catching them.
Drop a couple on third down in the playoffs, Skip, and you'll go home.
Thank you. Okay, so to your point, these stats that I gave you, they don't rank very well because he's 17th in the league in catches and 17th in yards and he's 16th in targets. Okay, so they're all kind of up in their top 20. Not bad, but not great.
Right.
Here we go again. Your favorite website, Pro Football Focus. It ranks CD, just grading him out so far through 14 games, the 7th best receiver in pro football. Cooper Kupp is number 1. Devontae's number 2. Justin Jefferson is number 3. CD is 7th. I'm going to hang in there and say I would still take CD long-term over Justin Jefferson. And you and most everybody else would say you're crazy.
Yeah.
It's because he runs with such fury after catch, such athletic fury.
But you got to have the ball.
Okay, you got to have the ball. But I say over time, he's going to show you that he's more lethal once he gets the ball in his grasp than Justin Jefferson. And I got no problem with Justin Jefferson, but you want to talk about rapport with the quarterback? Kirk Cousins loves to throw the ball deep to Justin Jefferson, and he trusts him, and they got a wavelength going. Well, I can't defeat that yet, but CD is still a very young player, so is Justin, and yet I'll take him long term. And I think if they're going to go anywhere in this postseason, that connection has to start to percolate here.
Yeah.
Where you start seeing some 100-yard games from number 88.
Well, he's due. He only has 5 in his career. I think he has 3 this year, Skip. He has to be better. He has to be better.
Okay, because the run game kind of comes and goes, and I think it's always going to be just pretty good.
Yeah, I think the thing is for you, though, I think you're counting on you like, I got a $75 million quarterback. I got 3 wide receivers. If I need to be able to go have a 300-yard day. And if we're behind, I'm going to need to come back. And when you come back in a game, Skip, you can't have drops.
I agree. So in the end, I'm going to give you this. I believe my team will go only as far as Dak and CD take them, because in the end, I trust my defense. I'm to the point where I trust. We're going to talk about them in a few minutes here. Some people don't trust them. But the point is, the offense has lagged way behind the defense. And if they're going to take off like I have an instinct that they will, it's going to be because number 4 is throwing it to number 88.
You're only going as far as your defense carries you.
Well,
you're a defensive team now.
I know, but you don't think these guys are explosive? The potential on offense, we've seen it.
Yes, but we haven't seen it in a very long time, and it has you questioning whether they can be that. Okay. You're not questioning your defense.
Okay. Do I think I have weapons starting with 88?
Yeah, you
better
have weapons.
believe I do.
Yes.
You better believe
you have weapons.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they have to materialize right before your very closed eyes.
You got weapons, but they're not firing. They're malfunctioning.
They are malfunctioning. I will give you that. But there's got to be some connection that starts to gel between 4 and 88.
Well, you better hope it gels quick. You better hope it gels quick.
CD's got star mystique.
Well,
that's what he's got. Yep.
Only stars on the side of his helmet.
No mercy. All right, guys. Got to start with the Lakers here. You know, they dropped their 3rd game in a row last night. LeBron finished with 33 points. Westbrook had 22, but no other Lakers starter had more than 3 points. And LA ultimately couldn't keep up with the Suns and would end up losing 108-90. We are now joined by First Things First co-host Chris Broussard. Chris, great to have you with us. Can you see the Lakers getting out of the first round of the playoffs the way they're playing right now?
I know Skip and Shannon are way down on the Lakers, and I'm not impressed with what I see, but absolutely. Winning the first round, absolutely. All they have to do is avoid being the 7th or 8th seed. That's obviously facing.
Good point.
Well, right? If they face Phoenix or Golden State, they're in trouble. And I know you say, look, now they're in 7th, but they're only a half game out of 5th. And they're only 2.5 games out of 4th. And you guys know, so if they finish anywhere from like 4 to 6, then you like them in the first round. Look, Utah, obviously, you'd probably favor Utah in the series with the Lakers unless the Lakers have a nice run. But Dallas, the Clippers, heck, Memphis, I don't know if they can keep up this good play. But, you know, teams like that, sure. Yeah, Denver, the Lakers can beat all of them. So I definitely think they can win a round. Obviously, they have to make sure they don't finish 7th or 8th. and that's going to be tough without AD. But look, with LeBron yesterday, I thought he was right on the money when he said it's hard to determine what we can be because we haven't played together and guys have been injured and COVID and so on and so forth. Russ, LeBron, and AD have only played 15 games together. They're 8-7. Now, here's the thing, though. With the Lakers' age, they are likely to be disjointed the whole season. Like LeBron, we know he's, about to be 37 in his 19th year. He's missed 70 games, guys, since he's been with the Lakers for these 3.5 seasons. He missed 71 games in his first 15 years of his career. So LeBron now is injury prone. It's hard to see him going smoothly through the rest of the season without getting banged up. AD, we know, is injury prone. He missed half of last season. He's out for the next 4 to 6 weeks, whatever it might be. And then every other players that are key players are old too. So it's unlikely that we're going to get like a month and a half or 2 months straight of the Lakers just smooth sailing. Everybody's there for every game, and they can work things out. So, but still, they still have LeBron James playing at a high level. They should be able to finish 6th and then fifth and avoid the big boys in the first round.
Chris, hold on. You tell me, okay, they're half a game out of 6th or 5th. They're also a half a game out of 9th or 10th. But that's beside it. But you said, okay, LeBron is getting older and he's dinged. AD is always dinged. If you look at the people that they're counting on, they're hurt. So how are they going to get back? LeBron says, okay, it's hard to tell what we can be because we really haven't played together. How the hell we going to play? How y'all going to play together? In the training room? Because y'all can't get on the court at the same time because LeBron has been hurt, AD's hurt now, and Russ. So I'm just trying to figure out how they're going to put it together on the basketball court. Let's just say I can see if they could play 30 games together, and then we can say, okay, the first 30, they were in and out of the lineup. This next 30, they're all together. That's not going to be the case. And if you look at LeBron, look how that was as good as LeBron James can play what we saw last night, Chris. 13 of 19, 34 points, 17 in the first half, 17 in the second half. Perfect from the free throw line. 2 of 5 from the three, and only had 2 turnovers. And they lose by 18. He scored 17 of that 38 in the second half. AD hadn't been AD all year. First of all, AD had a bad year last year. He's playing even worse this year. And Russ is a turnover machine. Even though he's been a better efficiency over the last, say, 3 weeks, the turnovers have basically stayed the same. So how do you overcome that? And I talked to Skip in the first segment. The days of LeBron James, even though he's playing great, he can't overcome 1 for 13 from THT. He can't overcome 1 from 11 from Isaiah Thomas. He can't overcome he can't overcome 7 turnovers from Russ. He can't do it. There was a time when he was in year 13, year 14, he probably could go get 50 instead of the 34. But he can't do that anymore. He played as well as we can expect. And he's playing better to me, Chris, in year 19 than I thought he would. 8 30-point games in his last 12. It's just, he just can't do it. The guys that he has around him, and go ahead.
All I'm asking, and you're right, and look, I agree with you. I think LeBron, it's like taking him back to, say, year 2 or 3, when he was definitely one of the best players in the world. His numbers were great, but he couldn't control the game yet and dominate the game and impact winning the way he did once he got into his prime, which probably was his 4th year onward. I think that's what we're seeing now. LeBron's numbers are terrific, right? He's clearly one of the best players in the world, top 5, whatever, but he doesn't impact winning like he once did, and that's what you're talking about. But Skip, all I'm asking is that you finish ahead of Ja Morant and a bunch of role players. And you finish ahead of Luka and a bunch of role players. And you finish ahead of Jokic and a bunch of role players. I'm not asking for the world. I think they can do that. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I hear you. And Chris, I want to lean toward your cockeyed optimism that you're sharing. But I'm having a hard time with it because, to Shannon's point, LeBron James in year 19 last night against the best team in basketball maxed it out.
Yeah.
And they scored a grand total of 90, and they scored 38 in the second half. They got overmatched and outclassed by the Phoenix Suns at Staples, which is about to become another name, but I'm going to say Staples for now until Christmas. And Chris, even though I will give you, there was no Austin Reeves last night, he has become a revelation. An undrafted rookie out of the University of Oklahoma has become effectively the closer for this team. He might be even better as he grows up than Alex Caruso was. I'm going to give you that. Kendrick Nunn, I like a lot, and he hasn't played a dribble yet, and I think he will help and be a top 8 player for them. They didn't have Avery Bradley last night, their best perimeter defender, and they didn't have Dwight, who is still capable of wreaking havoc in the paint for better and for worse. But I do like Dwight's input, and I think he didn't play. I think he was a Vogel decision not to play last night. I think he was okay, right?
I thought so. I thought he was out of protocol.
So if you bring back all those, and to your Chris's point, if AD can sort of get and stay 80% healthy, I don't know, then I'm saying, okay, I hear you, except LeBron James still has one big fly in his soup. One big fly, and I first guessed this. I don't think you can overcome Russell Westbrook. He is completely out of control. I know he played 4 or 5 games in a row where he was kind of quiet, but if you look hard at what he's doing, he's now up to 148 turnovers, running away with the league lead because James Harden has 130. Russ is plus 18 in turnovers. It's incomprehensible, almost laughably bad. And as Shannon is the first to accept, it's so demoralizing to the basketball team that you just can't overcome it over the long haul. So I'm not sure, unless you show me a way out from under Russ. Is there a way to get rid of him? Because I don't see one. I know stranger things have happened, but I don't believe he belongs or fits or should be a part of this. I like them better without Russ. If you told me somehow he was suddenly out of the picture and you had everybody else we just talked about, I'd say, okay, I'm going to give you a shot to be the 4 or the 5 seed, but not trying to overcome this stat machine of a turnover psycho. He's gone completely crazy. And by the way, before I hand it back to you, Chris, but we've got to do it because it's been too long in this show since we saw the daily Russell Westbrook turnover blooper reel. We got to see it. Just from last night, he had 7. Could we see it, please? Russ, he says the game tells him what to do. The game is telling him, no, don't do that, Russ. The game is telling me to try that. Wait, who are you throwing that to? There's nobody home. What? Russ, take it easy. No plan. Leaves feet with no plan. What's that? Russ, if you're playing high school basketball, you're yanked.
Yeah.
You're yanked. You're doghoused. Come on, Russ.
Well, if I see you on the court, on the blacktop doing that, you're not getting picked next time I'm out there.
You're not going to get picked. What is that? Come on, Russ. I mean, these are like 6th grade turnovers. Russ. Okay, and it doesn't seem to bother him a bit.
So,
right?
Chris, what I'm supposed to do with that? Okay, take it away, Chris. What I'm supposed to do with that?
All right, well, look. let me say this. James Harden does lead the league in turnovers per game. He's at 5. Russ is at like 4.6. Same as Luka. So Russ isn't alone in turning the ball over. And I'll give you this. And I was telling Shannon, I was saying this to you earlier. And again, I don't want to paint this picture, guys, like I'm wildly optimistic, because I'm not. They're not getting out of the West. But they are 8-7 with LeBron, AD, and Russ on the floor. Russ with all his flaws and turnovers. When LeBron came together with Wade and Bosh, they were 9-6 over their first 15 games. When he joined Kyrie and Kevin Love, they were also 8-7. So my point is, this is not unusual for LeBron to start off with 2 other superstars and struggle or not play up to the level we expect. The challenge with Russ is that obviously he has to be the 3rd option, right? He's not better than LeBron and AD. But when you make Russ, like you take the ball out of his hands, he kind of just becomes, he's not Russ. He's not the superstar. And that's what the Lakers are battling with. When you hear AD say, we want Russ to be Russ, or LeBron or Vogel, we want Russ to be Russ, they're kind of like, we want him to be the star that he is. But if he's not handling the ball most of the time, he's not going to be that star. And that's the challenge. So, look, this is where LeBron's leadership and Vogel's leadership and coaching and strategy come into play. They got to deal with it. It's a challenge. None of us thought Russ was a good fit. Soon as we heard the rumors, we thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I tried to shoot it down.
But they did it, and now they got to deal with it.
I tried to shoot the rumors down, but here's the thing, Skip. Chris, you said that LeBron, he went to Miami, and they started out 9-6. LeBron was 26. And with Kevin Love and Kyrie, he was 30. Now he's about to be 37. That's a whole different ball game. And AD is dinged again. And normally when you get injured during the season, guess what? It's hard to get healthy during the season. And Russ is what he is. And that's the thing. Everybody like Russ like the game will dictate what I need to do. Man, you ain't listening to the game. You try to dictate to the game. Because it'd be 4 guys back, you like, I'm going to the hole. And you throw the ball clean on the top of the backboard. You get up in there, damn, what I'm supposed to do now? And turn the ball over. We in trouble. LeBron is going to have a phenomenal season. And it's going to be all for naught because everybody's going to remember, y'all had Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook. And you either missed the playoff or you're in the play-in tournament. And you know with one game, Chris, anything can happen. Because we saw even Steph Curry last year in a one-game scenario against the Memphis Grizzlies, got sent packing.
Okay, let me go in one final direction, Mr. Broussard. Shannon and I discussed this earlier in the show, but not only last night did LeBron James walk into the arena with a cigar in his hand, a victory cigar in his hand, but Russell Westbrook, early in this basketball game, had the delusional audacity to make a jump shot off the glass, which he is deadliest at. That's the one place where he can bank the ball home. He makes the shot over Mikal Bridges, who is a very good defender. And if we could see what happened thereafter, here he is. Little turnaround, fall away off glass. Way to go. And he rocks the baby going up the floor. These are the Phoenix Suns. Mikal Bridges is a highly respected defender. So what happens a little later? Well, here's that shot off glass again. A little later, he rocks the baby. Mikal Bridges says, I got something back for you. Have a taste of that. How about swallow that basketball whole? Well, you asked for it, Russ, and you got it. And it's just embarrassing that the Los Angeles Lakers have come to that.
Yeah, if I'm Mikal Bridges, I'd have did this. I'm burping the baby. I just burped the baby. That's what I did. I put it on my shoulder and burped the cream. You see what I did?
But I kind of liked it. Mikal didn't do anything. He just ran up the court and they scored again.
Chris, you eternal.
Like I said.
I can tell you a man of faith.
Seed. 5th seed. That's it. 5th or 6th seed.
My final thought on Russell Westbrook. He grew up a Laker fan, but he is not a Laker to me.
Ooh. His quote about letting the game come to him is really not aging well right now, considering the play. Chris, we appreciate you joining us. We're going to move on for now. No mercy. Celebrate Christmas with a boom. Fox Sports proudly presents a documentary tribute to one of football's most beloved figures, the coach, the broadcaster, the video game. All Madden premieres Christmas Day, 2 Eastern on Fox. Cannot wait for these interviews. It's going to be really special to watch. And boy, Skip and Shannon, I'm sure, will have lots to say about it as well. Well, guys, with Leonard Fournette suffering a hamstring injury, the Buccaneers have found a new All-Pro to add to their backfield. Tampa is reportedly signing veteran Le'Veon Bell to help fill the void. And still, despite injuries to Fournette, Godwin, Vontae David, Gio Bernard, Mike Evans, the list goes on. The Bucs are still 11-point favorites against the Panthers, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. So, Shannon, how much trouble are the Bucs in?
None. They got Tom Brady, the GOAT. That's what Skip Bayless told me.
Well, then you're saying sarcastically none.
Yeah, no. Right? I'm saying no. They shouldn't have none. I mean, you got Tom, you got the quarterback. He's still there.
Well, you're saying it sarcastically or realistically?
Realistically.
Okay.
Hold on. Mike Evans is still going to be there, right? He's a Pro Bowler.
I don't know that for a fact.
No. I'm just saying. I'm just saying moving forward. I think you're talking about. Are you talking about Small picture this game or big picture moving forward?
Big picture.
Okay, well, it'll be fine because Mike Evans is going to come back. They said it's day-to-day, so he'll probably miss this week.
Okay.
He's a Pro Bowler. Antonio Brown is coming back. He's a former Pro Bowler. Rob Gronkowski is a top 100 player all time. He's the GOAT tight end.
Okay.
So you should be okay. I mean, Chris Godwin, you tell me Chris Godwin ain't got no D speed. He's just a guy.
I didn't say he was just a guy, but he's a possession receiver.
Okay, possession receiver.
And they were loaded with too many possessions.
Okay, well, so you good then.
Okay.
Ronald Jones can fill the role of Leonard Fournette. I don't think he catches the ball as good as Leonard Fournette because Leonard Fournette has turned himself into a very good pass catcher, where he was known mainly as a true sense of the term running back, because that's what we didn't see him catch a whole lot of balls at LSU. We didn't see him catch a whole lot of balls. Well, as a matter of fact, we didn't see him do a whole lot of things at Jacksonville. But he's turned himself into a pretty good all-around running back, Skip. They still have that offensive line. Tom Brady has thrown the football the most, gotten sacked the least. So I think they should be fine. So I'm not overly concerned about that because, nobody has been all of a sudden. Now, we ain't doing this about Baltimore. Baltimore lost their top 3 running back, lost their top 5 DBs, lost D lineman, O lineman, and now here Tom Brady, the GOAT. And we worried about him? He should be good. He should go out there with backup role players and roll just fine.
I think you're being very sarcastic. Your comments drip with sarcasm.
Well, Skip, is he the GOAT or not?
Well, you're asking me?
I'm asking you.
Ask anybody. They'll say yes, he is.
I'm asking one, Skip Bayless. Is he the GOAT?
I'm not in the Hall of Fame. You are.
No.
Is he the GOAT? Hall of Fame?
No. Man, you've covered so many great. You covered Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell and all the great.
I did not cover Bill Chamberlain.
You covered Bill Chamberlain, Bill Russell.
Yeah.
You covered Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird.
I have.
The great Cowboys team.
Yep.
So what is he? Is he not the GOAT? So he should be able to do just fine.
He is the unquestioned GOAT, except when it comes to Shannon Sharpe, who every other day on this show tries to talk his way out of the GOAT for Brady.
No.
Yeah.
So he should be fine then, based on what you're telling me.
It came to this for the Buccaneers yesterday. They signed Le'Veon Bell.
Oh, your favorite guy. Yeah. I forgot about A.L. Bell. I love it.
I have had my issues with L. Bell from hell. And yet, he asked for it and he got it. He wanted his way out and he went to the Jets. Jets didn't like him. And now we've gone over the last 2 years. He's been with 4 different football teams in 2 years. That's not a good sign.
No.
And with the Ravens, I thought maybe he'd find new life with the Ravens and that running attack, and carried 31 times for a grand total of 2.7 yards per carry.
He had 1 run over 10 yards.
Okay. And he did score a couple touchdowns, whatever.
He was in Kansas City?
No good. I've never considered L. Bell a winning football player. And now he is on a very winning team with the winningest quarterback in history. So maybe, it's just like LeBron. Does LeBron sign off on every move? He may not suggest every move, but he definitely has to co-sign.
Right.
And did Tom co-sign this one?
Skip, you needed a body. I mean,
I think it's just a body.
Yeah, if Gio Bernard is hurt, Leonard Fournette is hurt, and your little guy, Keyshawn Vaughn, is in the doghouse.
Listen, I know Keyshawn Vaughn because I watched him a lot in college. He is a little power plant of electricity and explosive speed, but he has to catch it first,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
And I'm very disappointed in him, and I'm afraid he's not going to get back out of the doghouse because he could have filled the bill on that role.
And if they had confidence in him, Skip, they drafted him. They drafted him for what, third, fourth round?
Third round, yeah.
So he dropped the pass and he slipped on another Tom, and Tom looked at him like, you. So obviously they don't have the confidence.
What Gio Bernard has been and proven to be.
Well, he was supposed to be that, Skip. That's why they drafted him. A guy that can run the football and catch it out of the backfield.
That is correct. So Gio Bernard became a big deal to Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if he's going to come back from that. I'm not sure about it. And I'm not sure about a lot of these players because they're all iffy for maybe the playoffs.
Right.
Leonard Fournette, Lombardi Lenny.
Right.
He became a big deal for Tom Brady because you want to talk about security blanket. Dak's got Dalton Schultz, but Tom's got playoff Lenny, Lombardi Lenny.
Well, Chris Godwin's not coming back. Leonard Fournette is more, I would say 40, 50% chance he comes back. They don't think Mike Evans' injury is as serious as Leonard Fournette's. So he might miss a game, Skip.
Who was the defensive star of the Super Bowl?
Oh, Levante Davis.
Levante, because he took Kelsey out of the game. I've never seen anything like that before. And he took him solo and just said, I got him, and I'm going to take him out. Okay, so Malcolm Jenkins kind of did that to Gronk the other day, but this was spectacular because this was for all the marbles in the Super Bowl. Okay, is he going to come back? He's got a sprained foot, and I don't know if they're telling exactly the extent of it, but they said maybe for the playoffs he'll be ready. Well, that's scary to me because he's a huge part of that. Just on senior leadership.
They're the best tandem. He and Devin White are the best tandem linebackers in football.
They are.
Yeah, it's not close, so.
Okay, so here we go to Carolina. What did I tell you all week last week? I told you, wait a second. The Bucs are an 11-point favorite over New Orleans, who had beaten them 38-3 in that stadium a year ago, who's beaten them 3 of the last 4, and the only way that the Bucs survived the playoff game was that Drew threw it to them 3 times, and they fumbled, okay? So here they go to Carolina, and I don't know who's going to start at quarterback for the Carolina Panthers.
Either one is not good news.
Okay, well, for Tom Brady, one could be bad news. Because Cam Newton has beaten Tom Brady head-to-head twice. And you say, well, he's a shell of himself. He's not what he used to be. I believe that Tom brings out the very best, brings out the greatest in Cam Newton. And by the way, Cam tried to replace Tom Brady last year in New England, and I thought he did a pretty good job of it until he got COVID. And then I think it knocked the soup out of him. And I don't think he was the same after that. And then he became expendable when Mac Jones showed in the preseason, I can be Brady-esque. Okay. So Cam has beaten him head-to-head and outplayed him in both games. Well, if I'm Matt Rule and I'm teetering and my job's on the line and I'm on the hottest of seats.
Damn job on the line already?
Well, it seems like it to me because that's a disaster.
It is.
But I'm going with Cam in this game. It's a home game, a division rivalry. And once again, here we go. The home team, the division rival, is an 11-point dog at home. Well, that's just silly points to me because have you seen Carolina the last 3 weeks? I have, but I also have seen this. They are currently second in the National Football League in yards allowed. So their defense isn't a joke. You can say their offense has been a joke.
Yeah.
Okay? Obviously, without your little man McCaffrey, that's a huge loss.
I think the thing is, Skip, is that because their offense and their inability to possess the football for any length of time, your defense will eventually wear down. You can't keep going 3 and out. I don't care how good your defense is. Eventually, they'll wear down. So it's going to be very interesting. They have Stephon Gilmore. If Mike Evans doesn't play, what do you do with Stephon Gilmore? Do you let him shadow AB and then we try to play defense everywhere?
Is Stephon quick enough to deal with AB?
Well, I think the thing is that you just try to get your hands on him. You try to get physical with him and try to beat him. Now, the problem is that when he's in the slot, but Gilmore will travel. I mean, he's still getting back. I think our off season where he has an opportunity to train and not rehab because remember that quad, he had surgery. He had to rehab half this season. And so now he's just now really starting to get his legs back. But, I mean, this game could be interesting, but I just don't think Carolina's offense can do enough, even though Tampa's defense is not even close to what they were down the stretch last year.
Okay, but the only silver lining, albeit against Taysom Hill the other night, was the defense played really well. Like quietly very well. They didn't get any acclaim or attention because of the score.
But I think you will even attest to this. They're not what they were the last 8 games of the regular season and in the playoffs.
They got hot.
Yeah.
The pass rush got hot, and it's not hot.
You got Shaq Barrett was all over JPP, Sue. I mean, they're still tough against the run. Now, they're still more than formidable against the run because you got those big guys inside. You got Vita Vea and Sue. Sue's had an unbelievable season.
He has. No, I got it. So there's potential there, but don't let them slip up and lose to the Carolina Panthers.
No, I don't think
even though they got the Jets and Panthers to end.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. You know what? As much as I love Brady, I don't love the Bucs' chances as much as I did because it's starting to feel like, you know how the injury gods just dictate the season?
Yeah.
It's last man standing, and it's war of attrition. You know it better than anybody.
Ask Kansas City about the offensive line.
Yeah.
When you go into the offense, with 5 new starters on your offensive line, that has an impact on you.
Okay. So it's starting to feel like not meant to be for the Buccaneers. I don't know. It depends on the outcome of all these injuries.
I mean, but Tom has been very fortunate. Skip, if you remember all those times in New England, they never had the rash of injuries like they had in Tampa this year.
Yeah.
I mean, you might lose a guy, but they didn't really lose anybody else.
I don't remember any year where it was like an outbreak.
Maybe one time they lost. Did they lose? Didn't Edelman?
He was gone
in the Super Bowl when they lost to Philly, Skip. But for the most part, their guys have been there. I think Gronk that year they lost to the Giants and Indy, Skip. Remember he tore his ankle. his ankle, and he was hobbling out there. But for the most part, Brady can knock on wood. Brady's been like, I've gone to 10 of these things, and for 8 of them, I've been relatively very healthy.
I will buy that. I agree. And he is the GOAT.
I don't know about all that. We'll see. That's TBD.
No, we're going to end it on
TBD.
TBD.
TB12D.
No mercy. About this Christmas Day, Terry Bradshaw is giving away a house on the Fox Bet Super 6 app. So scan the QR code and enter your picks in the Christmas special contest, then opt in to the house giveaway sweepstakes for your chance to win. One lucky winner will be announced on Christmas during the Browns-Packers game on Fox. Don't miss out. Free to play. Best of luck winning a house. So this happened last night. LeBron rolled his ankle in the third quarter, and despite it initially looking bad, the King did play through it. And afterward, game analyst and Hall of Famer Reggie Miller marveled at LeBron's durability. Take a listen.
This dude is tough. Been incredibly durable has LeBron James, but he's getting into his late 30s now. Nobody spends as much time and money on their overall health. Well over $1 million on body maintenance a year for LeBron James.
So this isn't new, Skip. It's an ongoing theme from announcement.
Hey, now about you, old nephew.
What is your reaction to these types of comments?
Shannon Sharpe. I have been hearing this for, 5, 6, 7 years. LeBron James spent, I usually hear $2 million. Reggie went to
like
1.6,
$2 million. But who counted? It ain't my money.
Says Sharpe, who is the fifth horseman. Part of LeBron's inner circle is Shannon Sharpe. Every time I hear this media myth making, it drives me even crazier because
what you mean?
How do we know for sure exactly how much money LeBron James spends every year on fitness? How do we know for sure that he spends more than Kevin Durant spends or Kawhi Leonard spends? Because I don't know that for sure unless you can produce for me an audit of every superstar spending on their fitness regimen year after year after year in every sport. How do we know that Tom Brady doesn't spend more than LeBron James? How do we know that back in the day that Michael Jordan, who I think hired the first trainer ever, the great Tim Grover.
Right.
I'm not sure anybody ever had a trainer like Tim. I don't know how much.
At least not full time.
Not full time. And Tim did it full time, and it worked all the way up through 1998 before Jordan took the 3 years off. But the point was, I don't know, in the day, did Michael Jordan spend more than anybody else? I don't know that because all I know for sure is that Rich Paul and Maverick Carter have repeatedly told the media, it's over $2 million a year, how much LeBron spends. And everybody swallows it and buys it and takes it to the bank. It is supreme media myth-making, and I don't know for sure because all I hear about Kevin Durant from people in his inner circle is his workouts are legendary, but he doesn't post his workouts like LeBron does. I hear from people around Kawhi that nobody works harder off the court in workout regimen than Kawhi does. Well, how do I know he doesn't spend as much or more than LeBron does?
Let me ask you a question.
I don't know. How can you prove it?
Here's the thing. Even if he only spends $2, name the player that's been asked to do as much as LeBron James over 19 years. Okay. Now, you don't have no problem when they mention the guy that's with Tom Brady and how much he spends. Alex Guerrero and the TB12 method. Not one time. And they mention this continuously. Tom Brady had his center put in Patriot weight. You didn't have a problem. But the fact that they give LeBron James credit because he's 37 and he plays a sport, he has to play offense, defense, and he has to do everything.
Okay, but every time I hear it in the media, it's become a cliche to say LeBron James spends, I always hear Reggie said 1 million, but whatever you say, that LeBron spends more money than anybody on fitness. Well, does he really? Are we sure about that? Can you prove that?
Let me ask you a question. Is Tom Brady the only one that has Alex Guerrero full time?
Heck no.
Okay, but that's not what it seems like because that's all we talk about.
What's LeBron's guy? Macias?
Yeah, Mike Macias.
And he's great.
Yes.
In fact, he's a protege of Tim Grover.
But my thing is, Skip, is that when they talk about Tom Brady in this media, all they talk about at least one point in time during the game, I'm almost certain, even though I can't hear it, they mention something about Tom Brady and his fitness and what he's doing at 44. And you've never been tired of that.
Okay, but the cliche is avocado ice cream. He eats avocado ice cream, so that's what makes him strong, right?
And come to find out, he drinking tequila and eating a whole lot of other stuff also.
Okay. Well, LeBron actually smokes cigars and drinks at least a couple of glasses
It works for
of
Jordan.
wine.
If it's good enough for Jordan, it's good enough for him.
Okay, but the wine, it always just disturbs me because doctors are split on, well, maybe one glass a night's okay, but if you go to 2 or 3, it can be hard on your heart.
They got a city or over there in Italy, the Blue Zone, and people that when they eat olive and they drink wine, and they got lived 80, 90, 100 plus years of age.
Yeah.
Okay.
In moderation.
He's doing it in moderation. You making it seem
How do we know?
You making it seem like the man got wine on the sideline.
He's always talking about it. I got to go home and have some wine.
Well,
right?
he got to unwind. The man, you still haven't told me, name the player that's had more on his plate over 19 years than one LeBron James.
Okay, I give you that. And that has what to do with this media myth of 2 million a year.
So the problem is not that you have a problem with the number.
It's the premise that only LeBron spends that much.
No, but the premise is that only TB12, that Tom Brady is the only one working out. The only reason Tom Brady, see, what you've done and other people, the only reason Tom Brady's played 44 years is because of this method.
Okay, but nobody said he spends more than anybody else on it, though I could probably make a case that he does.
You can't. Well, I can make a case LeBron does.
Well, they do. That's all anybody does.
Yeah.
You go right along with it.
And hold on. The man talking about he got Mike Guerrero is only travel with the team, and he's doing all this, and he got all this. Stop it.
Can you produce receipts on LeBron spending on fitness?
No, I put the receipts out there on the court.
Oh.
You see it every time he step on the court. He like that.
Okay, is LeBron better than Jordan is? No. So
Been there.
The GOAT puts his receipts out on the football field every time he plays.
First of all, your guy was done in year 15. My guy going strong.
Which guy?
You know, yes.
You mean the greatest?
No. The second best player of all time was done in year 15. And he ain't look like this.
Michael Jordan invented fitness.
I don't know what he invented.
He did.
First of all, he did not.
And then
Jack LaLanne invented fitness.
No, in pro sports, Michael did. I'll give you that. He did invent it. I don't know. I'm not sure anybody's really paying attention, but he did.
Well, you know who Jack LaLanne is. I don't know if our younger generation know who Jack LaLanne is.
Well, you know who he is.
I think that absolutely
okay,
I know who
and
he
then
is.
Jordan took 3 years off and walked into the sunset, and more cigars and more.
And he should have stayed there.
That Henny, you know.
And he should have stayed there.
Okay, he probably should have, but he came back for ceremonial couple of years.
We don't do no. You don't get to do that. You want to do that? Hey, Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player, they do ceremony. They tee off at Augusta National. That's you don't get your butt out there. And even Jack Nicklaus knew. Say, you know what? I can't keep up with these young guns. Let me sit my butt down.
Well, obviously, yeah.
Okay, then that's what should have happened. Kobe and them young guns were coming. Shaq, they were there, and they didn't. They gave it to him.
Can you produce receipts that LeBron spends $1.62 million each year on fitness?
I trust it. I trust.
You trust?
I trust. I talked to his chef. I know he has a full-time chef that does everything down to every. And chefs aren't cheap. Trust you. Your boy trying to find one right now, but they trying to I'm trying to give me one right now.
Oh wow!
You can afford it.
I don't know, Skip. I might have to pull an AB. I might have to stiff them.
No, don't do that. Please don't do that.
No mercy.
Well, the Cowboys offense has struggled this year. Its defense is carrying the load, with the unit currently tied with the Colts for most takeaways in the entire NFL. However, a new stat shows that they've also given up 27 plays of 30-plus yards, which is second most in the league. So, Shannon, does this show that the Cowboys defense is actually overrated?
No, it tells me that it can be had, Skip. When you give up plays like that, and I've always said this, I thought their secondary was very average. I think Diggs has having an outstanding season, but he guesses a lot. He takes a lot of unnecessary risk that puts himself in harm's way, and that's particularly why he doesn't grade as high as you would think someone with 10 interceptions that was in the Defensive Player of the Year running, is because he takes a lot of these unnecessary risks. I think Anthony Brown is very average. I think their secondary is very average, but I believe their pass rush is elite, and that's the difference. That's what separates them from some of these other teams, Skip. If you play the Cowboys, you got to be able to lock it up front, because if you don't, they're going to force you to throw the ball before you want to, and you're going to force you to put the ball in situations where they're going to be advantageous. So I don't think they're overrated, Skip. I just think they can be had. And the question is, if you play an Aaron Rodgers, you play a Matthew Stafford, you play a Tom Brady, and that's probably two of the three guys you're going to have to beat, Skip. You might have to beat all three of them. in order to get to your ultimate destination of playing in SoFi. Can you still generate that kind of pressure, and can you force those guys into those mistakes, especially Brady and Rodgers? You can't. Matthew Stafford has been known to have a big turnover day. Those other two guys, especially Rodgers, we don't see Rodgers turn the ball over. He normally has one of those games a season where he turns the ball over a bunch.
And I think he's got that.
I think he's gotten that out the way, Skip.
I am pleasantly shocked that Shannon Sharpe just said some fairly nice things about my defense. I thought you were going to just trash it and say it's completely overrated and exposed. I do not love this stat because it's pretty horrifying to me that they've given up the second most 30-yard plus plays.
Especially when
you
that high in the turnover margin, when you take the ball away like they take it away.
Okay, but why am I hanging in with this defense? Because the two worst games of the year were the two that they gave up the most explosive plays in. The two I told you are almost inexplicable to me, except I can just say for sure, bottom line takeaway, my defense or my football team did not take your Denver Broncos seriously enough. And before they woke up, they were down 30-0 in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
They definitely on Thanksgiving did not take the Las Vegas Raiders seriously enough. And before they woke up, they were in overtime in a battle, and they got one 33-yard pass interference called on Anthony Brown that lost the game. So if we could go back to that Raider game, I'll show you the 5. These are the season-high 5 explosive plays they allowed in this game, and tell me what you're seeing in these plays. Well, here's the first one to guess who? It's
DJ.
Yeah, he's gone. and he's done that before to them and everybody else, but okay, and there's Hunter Renfrow, who was running circles around my guys because they just didn't want to tackle him.
Because they'd be better than you think. He was running circles around Cleveland.
Jones, son of Robert Jones, a former Cowboy linebacker, and he gets loose and he can run. And then, listen, Derek Carr can wing it, man. And guess who?
Skip, but what you're seeing,
again.
no pressure on the quarterback. You see how he's patting the ball? You see, look at it.
Number 5 to...
Now, there's
It's D-Jack again. And he didn't want any more of that, but he still got 30-plus yards.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm sitting back out of my mind. I told you that game took 5 years off my life. I still have not recovered from it. But here's where the silver linings are. At Kansas City against that track team and Patrick Mahomes, they only gave up 2 of those. That's pretty good, and they held him to 19 points. So I'm putting that in my bank. I go back to opening night at GOAT. Only one of those explosive plays allowed.
That was the AB touchdown.
Yeah, it was. It was that one on Anthony Brown.
But you know,
AB on AB.
Tampa is really not a big play team. You know who had some big plays but got them called back? The Chargers. Game 2, the Chargers got some big plays, got them called back with some penalties.
Okay, but we won a low-scoring game.
Yeah, that was the only game y'all won in the AFC West. Everybody else beat the brakes off.
They did, and we are 10-4. And I'll take that to my bank.
So just imagine
because 10 wins equal 10 cases of Diet Mountain Dew for me.
Imagine if you was playing on a solid division. You wouldn't have 10 wins.
You know what? You can only beat who you beat.
Yeah, you can beat the sorry team that's in your division.
Yeah.
No mercy. Russell Wilson struggled in last night's loss, completing less than 50% of his passes and throwing an interception. His QBR fell to 16th in the NFL as the Seahawks look destined for a high draft pick. So, Shannon, what is wrong with Russell Wilson?
Well, they ain't got no high draft pick. The Jets on their draft pick, so the Jets looking destined for a high draft pick. Skip, Russ does not look right, and I think it's more than the finger. Russ is missing throws. He knows he has to get that ball up to DK Metcalf without a second hitch. And he hitches. He underthrows the running back. Now, it should have been a PI, but Russ doesn't look right to me, Skip. Now, maybe because I heard the rumblings about how his agent said he got 4 teams he wanted to be traded to, and I'm still buying into that, and I still believe Russ wants out of Seattle, but Russ doesn't look right to me. Something is not right.
Totally agree with you. Now, Pro Football Focus grades him the 22nd best quarterback in the league. It's just 2 years ago, people were making the case he's the best quarterback.
Yes. He finished second, I think, 2 years ago in the top
players
100.
poll, right? Did he rush back from surgery on the middle finger of his throwing hand? Maybe.
But he was playing bad before then, Skip.
I agree. He's now 4-7 as their starter. They're 5-9. And in the end, I'm with you. It just feels like he's got one foot out the door.
Yeah.
That's how he played last night, like his heart was no longer in it, because I couldn't even recognize him. In a game that was kind of teetering. It was there for them, right?
Russell Wilson normally, a game like last night, Russell Wilson normally wins that game.
Has he not been one of the clutchest fourth quarter performers we've seen?
Yes.
He was a shell of himself last night, psychologically, emotionally.
And I understand, Skip, they was out without Tyler Lockett, who's their best receiver, big-time deep threat. But that's no excuse for the way Russell has played this year. Something is going on. I believe there's a greater chance. I'm going to say 85, 90% chance Russ is going to be playing for someone else next year.
I agree with that.
Wow, interesting. 85, 90% chance. Oh, that's interesting. He did not look like himself last night, that's for sure. Well, Skip, Shannon, we are back same time tomorrow. We'll have plenty more to get to. The Herd is on now with Colin and Joy. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.